On your natal chart, it can tell you whether you have mass appeal or the qualities of an internet celebrity. So, where do we look for this? You need to look at the Ming Palace, the Qianyi Palace, and what else? The Puyi Palace, and finally, there's also the Feud Palace. Besides the things I just mentioned, there are actually two minor stars that most people misunderstand and don't really know about, so they end up stigmatizing them. But in fact, these stars are very suitable in this era to give you a chance to shine. Maybe you want to be an influencer, but you haven't managed to yet. Design, but you also have a luck cycle chart. So how do you work with that? As everyone knows, I have a Mind Body Spirit Professional Guild. If you work in the mind-body field and you don't have labor or health insurance yet, you're welcome to join our guild. Thank you all. Recently, I launched my entrepreneur coaching program. There are already a lot of similar courses out there, and honestly, our own Bazi 4 Pillars course already takes up a huge amount of my time. So why did I still want to start this program? Actually, it's because in this industry, having an influencer identity or online exposure is really important. Basically, it will be a really great advantage for you, or you could even say it's almost essential. It's an unavoidable marketing method, as everyone knows. For me personally, I started out with almost no advertising budget, practically broke, and gradually, step by step, we've now reached 250,000 subscribers. But there are so many courses out there that mainly teach you how to run ads and how to make short videos. Many people, when they first get into this field, are actually just looking for a side hustle, hoping to earn some extra income in addition to their regular job. Or maybe they've encountered difficulties in life and then learned some kind of mind-body tool that changed themselves. And now they also they want to share this valuable knowledge with everyone, but they might not have enough funds. So what should they do? That's why we're offering this kind of course. But even more importantly, in this course, we'll also use your personal birth chart to guide you on which direction to take. Today, I'll start by briefly introducing what kind of people have the qualities of an internet celebrity, meaning as soon as they're on camera or in their videos, no matter what their content is or what the topic is, they naturally attract attention. We often hear people say there are certain key topics you should focus on in your videos to get traffic. But even if you follow those suggestions, you still might not get any views. Why is that? When making videos, you actually need to have a certain personal charm. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be extremely handsome or beautiful. If it were all about looks, people like us would have been eliminated long ago and wouldn't even have a chance, right? So, in fact, you can see this in your birth chart. The chart can tell you whether or not you have mass appeal and if you do have that kind of charisma. Relatively speaking, it will be easier for you to build your own brand and develop your influencer career. So, where do we look for this? In Zi Wei Doshu, you look at the 12 palaces. Of course, when analyzing each palace, you also need to consider the Ming Palace, so the Ming Palace must be examined as well. What else should you look at? You need to check the Travel Palace and also the Friends Palace. These 3 palaces are the main ones. Lastly, there is the Fortune Virtue Palace. The Fortune Virtue Palace includes your mental willpower and the state of your soul. So, what is the state of your soul? It can influence many, many different aspects. Those who have attended classes will know. We often joke that if there are malefic stars in the Fortune Virtue Palace, it basically means deviant behavior, because the Fortune Virtue Palace represents the soul level, and the soul level reflects your connection with society, the overall social forces, and how they connect to you personally. So, if the overall social forces are connected to you, and your Fortune Virtue Palace is filled with those peaceful stars, it means your soul is connected to the whole of society. Whatever the collective will of society is, you will accept it as it is. But what if your Fortune Virtue Palace has malefic stars? As we often say, malefic stars represent our subconscious, uncontrollable emotions hidden within your soul. Usually people like this are different from the collective consciousness of society. So being different from the collective consciousness, well, it depends on the situation. If this difference is channeled in the wrong way, of course, it could lead to things like road rage, right? Like reckless driving or maybe even other issues. There might be some psychological issues, but if he manages to control it just a little bit better, it means that he will have a different perspective on life. As we all know, the collective will of society is generally more conservative, a more uniform and conservative attitude. And with more closed-off values, so how can you see this? You can see it from products. For example, national cars are very common, things that everyone uses. You might find it strange. Why is it that brands like Toyota, these national cars you see on the road, why can't they be designed to be a bit more distinctive, a bit more unique? Of course, Toyota also makes and sells supercars. But why is that? Toyota treats its national cars as world cars, so everyone has to like them. But when you want everyone to like it and you go for the greatest common denominator for everyone, you often end up sacrificing individual style. So you can see that, for example, European cars, French cars, or Italian cars, even if they're national cars, they still have a lot of character. Why is that? Because in France and Italy, their collective consciousness places a high value on aesthetics. From this perspective, you can see that so-called collective social consciousness is basically relatively conservative and resistant to change. People who are more peaceful, like those with a lot of fu de gong, a metaphor for peace and stability, also tend to be less willing to experience major upheavals in life. They prefer comfort and stability. Since they desire comfort, don't want chaos, and don't want too much change, of course they will want to be like everyone else. So they adopt the general social consensus. It's basically like this. But if someone has a Sha Xing, inauspicious star, then they will have some different ideas. Why do we say someone has a Sha Xing? It means a comedic star, because think about it. When someone says something really funny, isn't it because they offer a perspective that's different from yours? Oh, it turns out you can describe it this way and make it entertaining precisely because it's a different idea. So, when there is a Sha Xing in the Fortune Virtue Palace, making this person have thoughts that differ from others, they easily become a comedic figure. So, what about this Sha Xing? Which minor stars are usually associated with telling deadpan jokes? Mars, for example, suddenly has some impulsive ideas. Qingyang, on the other hand, insists on his own feelings and viewpoints. These three stars, if they are here, the best situation is when they are paired with peaceful stars like Tayin, Tiantong, Tianliang, or even Jumen. Jumen, lacking a sense of security, will actually behave very well. And Tanlang can also be included among these types of stars. Usually when someone has these stars, their way of thinking is different from others, and they tend to have a sense of humor. So, as you can imagine, with this kind of personality trait, isn't it likely that they'll easily attract people? If they can bring this out in their videos, then their videos will have more character rather than just following what everyone else is doing. If you just copy what everyone else is filming, your work won't have any unique features. Of course, you won't get much attention that way. So what else is there? Earlier, I mentioned there are three very important palaces, right? Aside from this kind of natural charisma that radiates from the soul, what about the other three palaces? Actually, the first one refers to personal character traits. The personal traits in the life palace can also be applied to what I just said about the Fortune Virtue Palace. So, what else is there? Of course, there's also the peach blossom star, which naturally makes someone attractive, although I just mentioned it earlier. As for these handsome men and beautiful women, basically, it's not an absolute factor. But you can't deny that in today's visually driven environment, good looks are everything. Appearance is justice, and for women, a good figure is the key to popularity. You can't deny that either. So, in the Life Palace and the Career Palace, if you have the Peach Blossom Star, and it's a star associated with good looks, like Lian Zhen, Lin Xiang, Zhu Men, Tai Yin, Tian Tong, Tai Yang, and so on. These are stars we've talked about before. They're naturally more attractive, and when combined with auspicious stars, it's even better. When you add the Peach Blossom Star, because of their appearance, they tend to do quite well. Stars like Hua Ke or those similar to Hua Ke also work because they make people pay more attention to their looks, and of course that attracts others. People will think, oh, let me take a look first. This woman is very beautiful. This woman is very sexy. This man is so handsome. After being drawn in, then you start to look at their content. Even if what they say is exactly the same as others, you'll still be more interested in watching them. So if that's the case, what about people like me, the teacher? What should people who aren't good looking do? What's the other path? Have a unique trait. For example, take me as an example. Most fortune tellers wear Taoist robes or dress in a way that looks very traditional or folkloric. Astrologers might dress in a way that seems ethereal and otherworldly, but I'm not like that. Back when I was poor, I just wore a shabby shirt, and that made me different from others. That's what makes you stand out. Or, for instance, most fortune-telling teachers look very peaceful, but that's not me either. The way I look, everyone knows, right? I operate cranes, I go diving, so I just don't fit that typical image. The way I talk isn't like that either, so that's what makes me unique. Or, for example, I once weighed 140 kilograms and was the heaviest fortune teller in all of Taiwan. That was also a unique trait. You need to find your own distinctive features in terms of appearance and then style yourself accordingly. That's another way to stand out. This will attract people's attention. So if your natal chart doesn't have the Peach Blossom Star, but you have the Xia Star, that's still pretty good. Or, as we cover in our courses, we'll actually teach you that at certain times, because I wasn't born with it. But there are certain periods when I do have it, how to identify those times. If there's a chance, maybe I'll talk about this in more detail on the members channel. Of course, when it comes to appearance, besides the Life Palace and the Travel Palace, the Parents Palace and the Second Palace also count. So you need to look at those as well. So what else is there? Besides appearance, the Travel Palace also represents whether you have enough personal charm and popularity. If the Travel Palace has the Hua Ke Star or the Peach Blossom Star and some other stars that are especially attention-grabbing, like Zi Wei or Tan Lang. Stars like Linjen are also very suitable because you naturally have an external aura that easily attracts people. The last important line is the Friends Palace. What does the Friends Palace represent? It shows your attitude towards friends, how you interact with them, and what kind of people you attract. On this line, it's usually the same. If it has the peach blossom star and Hua Ke, indicating personal charm, then such a person is also more likely to attract all kinds of friends or groups who want to get close to them. This is the part about the Friends Palace. You need to understand what kind of people your Friends Palace usually attracts. For example, if you work in engineering or science, or perhaps in tourism or the culinary field, the Friends Palace will reflect these differences. If you are involved in more hardcore or technical knowledge, then the people in your Friends Palace will also tend to prefer that type. Dominant and more intense stars like Zi Wei, Qi Sha, Lian Zhen, Qi Sha again, or Tai Yang, leadership stars that have a guiding quality. Then there are stars like Tianji and Zhumen, which are more knowledge-oriented. The Friends Palace indicates what kind of friends you attract and what kind of friends you like. So if your Friends Palace looks like this, then you should focus on content in this direction, as it will be easier to attract people. But if you are doing lifestyle or travel content, then what should your Friends Palace ideally be like? Tan Lang, Tian Tong, Tai Yin, these are stars that value the enjoyment of life. But in the Friends Palace, it's best if you also have Hua Lu, and then you want Peach Blossom stars, and then Hua Ke. Finally, I want to tell everyone, in the summary I just gave, did you notice something very important? Your own unique traits and ideas that differ from others will be your trump card. Besides the things I just mentioned, there are actually some minor stars that people often misunderstand and don't really know about, so they end up stigmatizing them. However, these stars are actually very suitable for giving you a chance to stand out in this era. One is Tian Yao, another is Xianqi, as well as Long Qi and Feng Ge. Tian Yao and Xianqi. These two stars have always been considered as representing bad romance or messy love affairs. Why is that? The original meaning actually refers to having ideas that are different from others. So usually, when Tian Yao and Xianqi appear in the Guanlu Palace or the Life Palace, people with these stars often strike you as very ingenious and creative. So why did people in ancient times speak so poorly of these two stars? It's because ancient society was feudal. For example, if a woman, very creative, very good at exuding charm and knows some little tricks, first, she would easily attract men. Second, she would easily get men's attention. And third, to those women who are dignified and demure, she would be seen as a green tea bitch. So of course, everyone disliked her. But if we go back to the reason behind these stars, you'll realize, hey, these kinds of star qualities are actually more creative and distinctive. So if this star is placed in the positions we just talked about, it will also be helpful to you. Now, what is Xianqi? Of course, Xianqi is often spoken of in a very negative way, but we can't deny its influence. It's someone who is more willing to have no sense of physical distance. In other words, like everyone soaking in a hot spring together, there's just less of a barrier between people. In today's era, this means that such a person is willing to show their body, to express themselves, not in the sense of using their body for attention or to attract followers, but rather to convey something, to take action and do many things. For example, they're willing to take to the streets, or they're open to filming more unique or unconventional videos, and so on. If you want to get into the online world, this is definitely a plus. Lastly, to add on, the Dragon Pool and Phoenix Pavilion in ancient astrology, these actually refer to the concept of Hua Ke, which is the scholarly or academic type. People who have Dragon Pool and Phoenix Pavilion in those particular positions will naturally, compared to others, possess a certain sense of nobility. When people follow internet celebrities, there's usually a kind of herd mentality. They think, what you said makes a lot of sense, or I think what you said is great, or hey, your perspective is really unique. At this point, you'll notice that these people usually live very authentically, placing a lot of importance on their own feelings. Plus, those with Dragon Pool and Phoenix Pavilion typically have these traits as well, which makes them more likely to be admired and attract followers. So these are the characteristics above. Maybe you want to be an internet celebrity, but you don't have these traits. However, what I just talked about all refers to the natal chart. You also have a transit chart, right? So how do you work with that? Still, I want to say, if you have the ambition to be noticed, want to be a good teacher, and hope to have students follow you, you can join my entrepreneurship support class. This is the first time I'm opening it up to people who are not my Zi Wei Doshu students. I hope to share it with everyone, so you don't have to take so many detours. I want to let you know how I, as a single father with over 20 million in debt, slowly paid it all off, and now have my own small place in the metaphysics community. I hope you can join. During the process, we will... How do you see yourself analyzing these things? And in this day and age, being able to gain exposure online is very important. If you've been following my Douyin or my programs for a long time, you can go back and compare and see if you have these qualities and whether this kind of development suits you. Thank you, everyone.